With a rhythm like the waves and the beating of the heart, my yarn runs through my fingers day and night, and in between all the things that are called life. Just one more row, and one more, and one more. The soft and peaceful rhythm of the knitting provides opportunities to talk about life in general and knitting in particular. Through the work of our hands, our thoughts, feelings and dreams are manifested, and we make use of the valuable knowledge that has been passed down through generations. Knowing how to knit is like always carrying an invisible treasure. As we knit, we make the treasure visible. When sharing this treasure, it grows. Let's make the world softer and warmer together, one stitch at a time. A warm welcome to Sophia's Tales podcast. My name is Sofia Karlsson, and I am a knitwear designer, photographer, art historian, author and pilgrim from Sweden. But I have recently moved to Norway. Scandinavian knitting traditions are close to my heart. I have been knitting since I was a child, and I haven't stopped since. You can find my patterns on Ravelry and in my book that is currently only available in Swedish, but I'm hoping for a translation soon. On Patreon, I share additional and exclusive content for my patrons. You can find all the links below. Welcome. Let's start a new episode of this podcast. A warm welcome to a new episode of Sophia's Tales podcast. In this episode, I will tell you about my mystery Knitalong that goes on in Advent time, and this is the 6th year in a row that I will be hosting this Knitalong, where we are knitting a colorwork hat together, where the pattern comes in 4 separate clues. I will also take you on a small outing in the beautiful nature. I will show you what's on my needles and what I have been knitting on since last time. And I will be talking a bit about a book I have been reading that meant a lot to me. And I will also tell you what I think about November and how to November. Yes, that's right. November can be a verb, something we do. And this is one way of doing it, sitting here by the fire and sharing some coziness with you. So let's start a new episode. It's time for my annual Advent Mystery Knitalong. We are knitting a colorwork hat, and the pattern is a secret. It comes in 4 clues every Friday before Christmas, and some of the clues have extra treats. We help and inspire each other in my Facebook group Sophia's Tales Knitalong, as well as on patreon.com/Sophia's Tales. Welcome to join. The pattern is on Ravelry and it's called Sophia's Winter Hat 25. There is also a special video here on my YouTube channel with some more inspiration and information about this mystery Knitalong. So now I'm going to show you what's been on my needles since last time. I have been knitting a lot of, should I call it private stuff, that are gifts for my dear ones in the family. My oldest son had his birthday at the end of October, and I wanted to give him some warm mittens, and I was looking for a pattern that wasn't mine to knit him, but I couldn't find anything, so I made up a new pattern. And this is the new mitten I designed for Arvid's birthday, And I made a larger one for him because he has larger hands, and this one is perfect on me. So I've been knitting this in 2 different sizes, and it's like one of my early patterns called Visby mittens that I also made in 2 sizes, and with worsted yarn, like Let Loopy is perfect for this. I made this mitten in Let Loopy, and also Arvid's mittens I knitted in Let Loopy. And it's with Latvian braid and a corrugated rib and a colorway pattern with really short floats on the backside. So it's a easy pattern to remember when you're starting to do color work. So I'm gonna use this on some of my teaching as well when I teach knitting. And I really love this mitten and how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to writing the pattern down now and be able to release it during this winter. And then he also told me that he had a pair of ordinary socks that I knitted for him 3 years ago, and that he uses every day at work. And so they have been a bit worn out now, but he was amazed that they had been working for him for more than 3 years. So I said I could mend them, but then I decided to also, I want to mend them when I go and visit him in December, but I also wanted to knit him another pair. So I just took these off the needles yesterday evening, and it's just an ordinary pair of socks. And I find those ordinary socks so important and beautiful, and it's so special, and they are never ordinary, or whatever ordinary is. They are special because they are filled with love for someone you're knitting them for, and it's very special with the ordinary socks. That's why I have this pattern in my book that I called Vardag, which means every day. And there's a story to that pattern about the ordinary socks.
What is an ordinary everyday sock? The ordinary days are so many, and together they form a large part of my life. I have always strived to live a pleasant everyday life that I can feel grateful for, because it is my life, and life is here and now, in the everyday life, in the ordinary things. It's the seemingly small things that are truly great. It's in my everyday life that I sit with the yarn and the needles in my hands, just as my grandmother did in her everyday life. It was in my everyday life that I learned to knit as a child, and it takes perseverance in the form of many, many, many days to learn to knit and then complete a garment. Every little day is important in the weave of life, just as every little stitch is important to knit for that sock to be finished.
My husband just got 2 small grandchildren, and I have the honor of being a bonus grandmother, and they are both so cute, of course, those 2 little kids, and I have knitted them some small booties that I gave away before I had time to show them to you. But now I want to show you the small hats that I made for them. And I will put the link for the pattern below. It's not my pattern, but I think it's so cute, and I've seen it. This is a very popular pattern. I don't remember the name right now, so I will, as I said, put the links here below. But I made one white for the smallest child, and a brown one for her cousin. And I think they are so cute, so I'm looking forward to seeing them on the babies. And it makes me, it gives me so much joy to knit for my loved ones. And sometimes I feel it's hard to find the time to make these ordinary things. And I'm really glad that I not always reflect upon how much time it takes before I start. I just start whenever I feel to make something as a gift. And yes, it takes many hours, as you know. So that's why our handmade gifts are so special.
We have been visiting dear ones in Sweden, the children we are fortunate to call our bonus grandkids. It's so special to see all the hand knits I have gifted them when we are there. The term knitworthy comes in handy when I see all the shawls, socks, hats and mittens. And that sweater I made for my daughter 20 years ago that is still in use and that I have mended several times. All the stitches I have knitted lying around because they are so loved and used. Earlier this autumn, I visited my friends Nina and Susanne and their families. We knitted together, spent time outdoors as well as in the kitchen, cooking, knitting and talking. I promised to share a talk I had with Nina in this episode, but I'm saving it for later, because I'm not finished yet with a pattern I'm releasing soon that we are talking about, so watch out, it's on its way soon. As I drove home from Nina and Susanne, I visited the old oak tree in Norra Kvill, Rumskulla. Last time I was there was almost 40 years ago. This tree is one of the oldest and largest oak trees in Europe, and it is around 1,000 years old. It's so amazing and beautiful.
I want to tell you a bit about a book I've recently read that is called Wintering by Catherine May. I read it before, but now I've been reading it again. And this is a book to get back to. I really love it, and I love the message about how life can be different seasons, and they come and go like the seasons outside our windows also do. And sometimes it's winter, but then it's summer again, and in between there's autumn and spring. And on the back side of this book it says, "Wintering is a poignant and comforting meditation on the followed periods of time, of life, times when we must retreat to care for and repair ourselves." Catherine May thoughtfully shows us how to come through these times with the wisdom of knowing that, like the seasons, our winters and summers are the ebb and flow of life. And I find this very true, and also very comforting when we come into a period in our lives where things are really hard. There is always brighter days ahead, and sometimes it's hard to just have this cheerful approach to that when you are really down and out and you need to mourn or go into your pupa that I talked in an episode before. But this is a very comforting book to read, and I want to just read some lines here in the book. "But even as the leaves are falling, the buds of next year's crop are already in place, waiting to erupt again in spring. Most trees produce their buds in high summer, and the autumn leaf fall reveals them, neat and expectant, protected from the cold by thick scales. We rarely notice them because we think we're seeing the skeleton of the tree, a dead thing, until the sun returns. But look closely, and every single tree is in bud, from the sharp talons of the beech to the hoof-like black buds of the ash. Many trees also display catkins in the winter, like the acid green lamb's tails of the hazel and the fiery grey nubs of the willow. These employ the wind or insects to spread pollen, ready for the new year. Isn't this beautiful? When the old leaves fall off, the buds are already there, ready to burst when the sun comes, and when they are ready in time when spring comes. Life goes on abundantly in winter, and this is where changes are made that usher us into future glories. So this is a very special little book that I can really recommend from my heart. It's special, and I have connected this wintering to my experience on November that I told you about earlier here, and I find it interesting to make winter into a verb like she's doing, wintering, how to take care of ourselves during those winter times in our lives. And I think about how I have been taking care of myself, or doing my best to take care of myself through November. And now I can call this Novembering. Something I can November. How are we doing that? How are we taking care of ourselves when we feel gloomy? I'm really fortunate and lucky to have a fireplace here in our home, so that's one way for me to November, because I find it so cozy to sit here by the fire and knit and have something nice to drink, a cup of tea or hot chocolate perhaps, and read a book. It's really a lovely thing to do.
November is a month many people dislike. I was once one of those people, but I'm not anymore. You might not need to love November, but you can benefit from knowing how to November. By knowing how to November, you might start to like it. Some things we cannot change, we can only learn how to accept them and deal with them. It's so liberating with acceptance. November is real, whether we like it or not, so we might just make the best of it. By changing my way of thinking about November, I learned to love it. Nowadays, November always ends too quickly to me. I want more of that silence and the calm space between the bright autumn and the intense December. I can find time and space to rest. It's really a time for recuperation and reflection. This year, I've spent a week in Sweden in November. I was attending a silent retreat that was a very precious experience. I have shared more about this with my patrons. Here comes a reminder that my cardigan Longing is now available as a single pattern on Ravelry, both in English and in Swedish. And the Norwegian podcast Countryside Knitting is hosting a knit-along for the cardigan Longing, in English as well as in Norwegian. The knit-along runs until April, and there are links here below.
Take care and continue to knit. Let's make this world softer and warmer stitch by stitch.
If you want more inspiration and content, behind the scenes footage and special offers, you are most welcome to support my creative work on patreon.com/Sophias Tales. Here you'll find behind the scenes snippets from my travels and my home. I share recipes, tutorials, reflections and pictures. My patterns are available on Ravelry from a link below. You can also find me on Instagram as Sophia's Tales and on Facebook as Sophia's Tales, as well as in the Facebook group Sophia's Tales Knitalong, where we knit my patterns and help and inspire each other. Thank you so much for watching and a warm welcome back to my channel.
Armored souls we